I came home 11 days early. Orders changed. Nothing dramatic, just logistics. They rotated us back to San Diego a bit ahead of schedule. I had the option to tell her, but I didn't. I figured, why not surprise her? She always talked about how much she missed me in uniform. Thought maybe it'd bring that look back in her eyes. So I flew in, no warning. Cab from the base straight to our apartment. Still had sand on my boots. My duffel was heavy. My dress blues weren't clean, but they were on me. I'd worn that damn uniform through heat, through boredom, through nights I didn't think would end. It meant something to me. And I thought it meant something to her too. When I pulled into the lot, her car was there. I smiled. It felt good, like I was about to walk into one of those moments you remember forever. Thought about how she'd scream when she saw me. Maybe cry. Maybe drop her coffee. That kind of thing. But the blinds were shut. That was weird. We never shut the blinds during the day. I walked up the steps. Second floor. My key was still on my tag. I stood at the door for a second. Took a breath. Tried to shake off the nerves. I was excited. Nervous, maybe. But mostly ready to be home. I opened the door. First thing I noticed? The silence. TV off. No music. Just voices. Low. One male. One female. Bedroom door was mostly closed. The light inside was on. My heart stopped. I took 2 steps forward and froze. His jacket was on the back of the couch. Navy issue. Officer rank. Not mine. I looked down. There were shoes on the floor, size 12, combat worn. Next to hers. I knew what I was walking into. I just hadn't admitted it yet. The bedroom door creaked when I pushed it. She was in a robe. Hair messy, like she hadn't expected anyone. He was shirtless. Dog tags on his chest. Still in uniform pants. His back was to me. She was facing the doorway. Our eyes met. She didn't scream. Didn't gasp. Didn't even speak at first. Her mouth opened, like she was going to say something, and then she didn't. He turned. Saw me. Froze. And then she whispered it, like it was the only excuse she had left. "You weren't supposed to be back yet." I looked at her. At him. At the room. No yelling. No shouting. No fists. Just a second of pure, solid silence. Then I turned around, walked out, and closed the door behind me. That was it. That's how it ended. Not with a bang. With a quiet click of the lock I used to call home. I didn't go far. Just down the stairs, across the parking lot, and into the driver's seat of the same car she used to say felt too stiff. I sat there with the engine off. Windows cracked. No music. Just the sound of my own breathing, which didn't even feel like mine anymore. You ever go from a place you thought was yours to realizing you were just passing through? That's what it felt like. My bag was still in the back. Boots still dusty. Uniform still holding the heat of the flight. I should have felt rage. I should have punched a wall or something. Instead, nothing. Not even pain yet. Just numb. I don't know how long I sat there. 10 minutes. Maybe an hour. I replayed her face in my head. Not panicked. Not ashamed. Just caught. Like someone whose cover was blown, and now they had to think fast. "You weren't supposed to be back yet." That line kept looping. Not. "I'm sorry." Not. "This isn't what it looks like." Just a complaint. Like I'd messed up her weekend plans. The weird part? I kept thinking about her robe. It was mine. She used to wear it on nights we'd watch movies on the floor. Now she wore it for him. Small detail. But it stuck. Eventually, I started the car. Didn't know where I was going. Not the base. Not a buddy's house. Not even a bar. I just drove. Ended up by the water. One of those little coastal pull-offs by the docks. I parked, left the engine running, leaned back in the seat. Watched the waves hit the rocks in the dark. It was cold. Didn't care. At some point, I checked my phone. No messages. No calls. Not from her. Not from anyone. She knew I'd seen. She knew I left. And she said nothing. I scrolled up through old texts. Birthday photos. Weekend plans. Stupid grocery lists. One from her stood out. 3 months ago, just before I deployed. Promise me you'll come home safe. I almost laughed. Came home safe. Came home early. Came home to her in bed with another guy wearing the same uniform I'd bled in. Hell of a thank you. I looked at my reflection in the rearview. Didn't recognize it. Face blank. Eyes sunk. I looked like a man who'd just lost something he didn't know was breakable. And in that moment, I made a decision. No calls. No scenes. No emotional speeches in the rain. She made her choice. Now it was my turn. I woke up with the engine off and my back screaming. Sun was just breaking through the windshield. I had slept in the car, parked by the water, wearing a wrinkled dress uniform and boots that still smelled like salt air and bad chow. I checked my phone. Still nothing. She hadn't called. Hadn't texted. No. We need to talk. No. I'm sorry. Not even. Where are you? And you know what? I preferred it that way. I sat up, cracked my neck, stretched. Felt like I'd been dropped out of the sky. My spine hated me, my mouth was dry, and I had zero plans for what to do next. I wasn't about to go back to that apartment. Not for answers. Not for drama. I didn't need to hear her version. I already saw the truth with my own eyes. So I drove back toward the base. Pulled into the parking lot like it was just another duty day. Walked in through the south gate, duffel over my shoulder, boots dragging a bit heavier than usual. No one questioned anything. Not at first. Just a couple nods. One guy said, "Back early?" I nodded. "Yeah. Orders changed." He didn't press. I got to my barracks room. Dropped the bag. Sat on the bed. Looked around. Same 4 walls. Same tiny desk. Same bunk that creaked if you even blinked on it too hard. But for the first time, it felt like somewhere I wanted to be. No lies here. No betrayal. Just noise, sweat, and structure. I took off the uniform slowly. Folded it across the back of the chair. Sat in a t-shirt and just stared at the wall. After a while, I finally checked my email. New message from command. Reassignment confirmed. Details pending. Another one from supply. My mail had arrived. She hadn't picked it up like she was supposed to. Figures. And then I saw it. Her name. One unread text. I opened it. I don't even know where to start. That was it. No sorry. No explanation. Just nothing. I deleted it. I didn't need her to start. She already finished everything the second she laid down with someone else. I put the phone face down. Stood up. Walked to the sink. Washed my face until it felt like my skin didn't belong to yesterday anymore. Then I looked at my own eyes in the mirror. "You're not the one who should be ashamed," I said out loud. And that's when I knew I wasn't going back. Not to her. Not to the apartment. Not to pretending everything was fixable. I was done. Whatever happened next. That was on my terms now. She asked to meet. Texted again that night. I didn't answer. The next morning she sent another. "Please, just talk to me." So I picked a place. Some diner off base. Not ours. Not one we used to go to. just neutral ground. For walls and cheap coffee. I got there first. Sat in a booth with my back to the wall, like I always did. 10 minutes later, she walked in. No makeup. Ponytail. Hoodie that wasn't mine. She looked like someone who hadn't slept. Good. She slid into the booth across from me. Said nothing for a few seconds. Then, "I didn't plan it." I didn't respond. Just stared. She swallowed hard. "It wasn't supposed to happen." "It was. A mistake?" I said. "Something you regret?" She blinked. "Yes." I nodded once. Looked down at my hands. They were steady. That surprised me. She kept going. "I was alone. You were gone. And he was there. I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't think you'd come back like that." That part made me look up. "You didn't think I'd come back. So what, you had a schedule? A window?" She didn't answer. I leaned forward a little. "You wore the robe I gave you. You let him sleep in our bed. You let him walk into my home in the same damn uniform I wear." "I know," she said, voice cracking. "I know. I hate myself for it." "You don't hate it," I said. "You hate that I saw it." She covered her face. People in the diner probably thought we were having a breakup. We were. They just didn't know it had already happened 2 days ago. After a minute, she looked up. Eyes red. "I love you." I laughed. Quiet, almost like a cough. "No, you don't." "I do," she said. "You don't just stop loving someone because you screw up." I tilted my head. "You didn't screw up. You made a choice. And now you want me to help you unmake it." She didn't speak. I sat back. "I'm not gonna yell. I'm not gonna make a scene. But I am done." Her voice was small. "So that's it?" "Yeah," I said. "That's it." She reached across the table. I didn't move. "You were everything to me," she said. "No," I said. "I was convenient, steady, safe. And when I wasn't in front of you, you found someone who was." She pulled her hand back. I stood up, dropped enough cash for both coffees, then looked her in the eyes one last time. "I'll have a lawyer reach out by the end of the week." And I walked out. No dramatic pause. No second glance. No regret. She made her bed. She just didn't think I'd ever see it. I got back to base that evening. Didn't feel like walking in, but I had nowhere else to be. Home was gone. And truth is, the barracks had always felt more honest than anything outside the gate. Guys were outside, tossing a football, killing time before night duty. A couple of them nodded as I passed. One said, "Damn, you're back early." I gave a short nod. "Yeah. Change of plans." He opened his mouth like he wanted to ask more, then didn't. Smart move. Inside, it was the usual noise. Doors slamming, boots hitting concrete, someone yelling across the hall about laundry. All the stuff I used to find annoying felt weirdly comforting now. It was background noise to the fact that my life had just collapsed quietly, like a building on soft sand. I dropped my gear, changed into standard issue, and sat on the edge of my bunk. The phone was still silent. I'd blocked her number after the diner. She didn't fight it. Didn't email. Didn't reach out again. That told me everything I needed to know. The hallway got quiet for a second. Then I heard a voice. Deeper. Confident. Laughing. It was him. Connor. Lieutenant Connor Reese. Combat Logistics. Station 3 halls down. I knew the voice instantly. Heard it once. That was enough. He walked past my door without a pause. Talking to someone, holding a coffee like it was just another day. No shame. No hesitation. like nothing happened. I didn't move. Just sat there, fists clenched so tight they went numb. 10 minutes later, I walked to admin. Requested a temporary transfer. The chief looked at me over the desk. Any reason? I shrugged. Personal. He nodded slowly. You need time or space? Both. He tapped some keys. We'll get you off this floor for now. There's an empty bunk in Echo. 2 buildings over. Fine. On my way out, I passed the same hallway. Connor was leaning against a doorframe, talking to one of the junior guys. He caught sight of me. Paused. I stopped too. We stood there, 10 feet apart. His smile dropped. He knew. He opened his mouth. I don't know to say what. But I just stared. Quiet. Still. After 5 seconds, I turned and walked away. Let him stand there with his half-formed apology, or excuse, or whatever it was. Because I wasn't interested in hearing it. Later that night, in Echo Barracks, I unpacked the few things I brought with me. Left the rest in storage. I didn't want reminders. Didn't want comfort. Just wanted silence. The guy in the bunk below me asked where I transferred from. I said, same base. Just needed a reset. He nodded like he got it. Maybe he did. Around 2200, I went for a run. Long one. No music. No distractions. Just me, the road, and whatever was still left rattling in my chest. And you know what I realized somewhere around mile 4? I wasn't angry at him. Not really. He didn't betray me. She did. He was just the knife. She was the hand that used it. Next morning, I made an appointment with legal. Didn't wait around. Didn't ask anyone's opinion. Just walked in, filled out the form, and asked to speak to whoever handled personal separation cases. The JAG officer was younger than I expected. Clean-cut. Sharp. Looked like he still believed in vows. He sat down across from me in the small interview room. Divorce? I nodded. Mutual? Eventually. He gave a dry smile. Understood. Let's start simple. We went through it all. Date of marriage. Joint assets. No kids. 1 car. 1 apartment. I told him she could keep the furniture. The place. Whatever was left. I just want my name off the lease and off the record, I said. He looked up. You sure you don't want to dispute anything? Positive. He tapped his pen twice against the folder. This'll move fast if she doesn't drag it. She won't. How do you know? I looked him in the eye. She already left. I'm just putting it on paper. He didn't ask more after that. The next step was simple. Serve the paperwork. Let it sit. Wait for response. She signed in 2 days. No note. No fight. The lawyer emailed me. All signed and filed. Waiting on court acknowledgement. Just like that. 9 years, reduced to a signature and a stamp. People talk about breakups like storms. Loud. Messy. Explosive. This wasn't that. This was a controlled burn. And maybe that's what hurt more. No big betrayal speech. No apology at the courthouse. Just nothing. It made you wonder if she was ever really in it at all. That week, I moved the rest of my stuff out of storage. Brought only what I needed. Gave away the rest to guys in the unit. Gear, dishes, even a damn coffee maker. One of them asked if I was redeploying. I said, no. Just traveling lighter now. It became a thing I repeated in my head every day. Traveling lighter. No wife. No apartment. No furniture that meant anything. Just me, my rack, a duffel, and the job. Every now and then, I'd see Connor in the mess hall or walking across base. He stopped pretending. If he saw me, he kept his head down. Fast steps. Quiet exit. I never said a word. Because I didn't need to. He had to live with what he did. I just had to live past it. One night, about a week after the papers were signed, I got a text from an unknown number. "I signed. I hope that's what you wanted." I didn't answer. What I wanted the woman I married. But she'd left the second she let another man put on my place in her life. So yeah, I wanted the paper. Because now, at least, it matched reality. He cornered me in the gym. Of all places. I was doing my usual late-night routine. Empty weight room, lights low, music in my ears. Just me and the bar. No conversation. No small talk. That's how I liked it. I'd finished my last set, towel over my shoulder, walking toward the lockers, and there he was. Connor. Leaning against the doorframe like this was just another Tuesday. He looked nervous. Not shaking, but stiff in the jaw. Arms crossed like he was bracing for impact. I took my earbuds out. Didn't say anything. Just stared. "I figured I'd run into you eventually," he said. No response. He shifted. "Look, man. I didn't know you were coming back that day. If I had, you wouldn't have been in my bed?" I cut in. Calm. He swallowed. "Yeah." I waited. Nothing else came. He tried again. "What happened wasn't planned." "Sure it was," I said. "Every time you texted her. Every time you smiled in the hallway. Every time you saw her alone and said the right thing while I was halfway across the ocean." Silence. I kept going. "You knew who she was. You knew who I was. You made a move anyway. I didn't mean for it to go that far. Then you're dumber than I thought." He opened his mouth. Closed it again. I stepped forward. Just enough for him to shift back half an inch. "Here's the thing," I said. "I'm not gonna report you. Not gonna make a scene. Not gonna file conduct charges or cry to the CO. That's not my style." He looked confused. "Then, why are we talking?" "Because I want you to know something." He raised his eyebrows. "You didn't win." He blinked. "You didn't steal anything," I said. "You just confirmed who she really was. That's not a prize. That's a warning." Still nothing. I leaned a little closer. "I live with what I saw. You? You live with knowing what you are." I turned to leave. He called after me. "You hate me?" I stopped in the doorway. "No," I said. "You're not important enough." And I left. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. Whatever fire he thought he lit, it was already ashes. Transfer came through a week later. Not a promotion. Not a punishment. Just clean paperwork. Different base. Different coast. Out of California, into Virginia. Naval Support Unit. Quieter pace. Less deployment rotation. More stateside admin. I didn't argue. I packed fast. One duffel. One sea bag. Everything else? I either donated or dumped. Didn't want reminders. Didn't need old things from a life that wasn't real anymore. Flight was quiet. Just me and a pair of Marines half asleep 2 rows back. Nobody knew who I was, and I liked it that way. When I got to the new base, I signed in, got my room key, nodded through orientation. They asked if I had family to notify. I said, "Nope." Simple. Nobody asked twice. The room was smaller, older. One window. One locker. One metal-framed bed. Felt perfect. I dropped my bag, sat down, and looked around. Empty. Quiet. Honest. First thing I did was put my boots under the bed, like always. Second thing? Tossed my phone in a drawer and left it there. Nobody I needed to hear from. She was still gone. Connor was a ghost on another coast. Everything else could wait. Next few weeks were routine. Wake up. Run. Work. Gym. Sleep. Repeat. It felt good. Simple. I started eating better. Dropped 5 pounds. Shaved more often. Guys on base called me sir, like I was someone worth following. They didn't know what happened. Didn't know what I saw. Didn't know what I lost. But they respected how I carried myself. And maybe that was the point. One afternoon I caught myself walking past a couple in the PX, young sailor and his girl, holding hands, laughing at nothing. For a second I felt something twist. Not jealousy. Not grief. Just distance. Like I was watching a movie I used to be in. Later that night, I wrote one line in a notebook I kept in the drawer. You don't heal by pretending nothing happened. You heal by not letting it define what happens next. That was enough. Didn't need more than that. Week later, I got invited out with some of the guys. Bar night. Cards. Loud music. I went for a bit. Sat at the edge of the group. Laughed once or twice. But I left early. Walked home under quiet streetlights. Didn't feel lonely. Just done pretending. My life wasn't broken. It was just reloaded. Same mission. New map. It came out of nowhere. Middle of a Tuesday. I'd just finished a long logistics run. Spreadsheets, dock clearances, sign gear inspections. Boring stuff. The kind of routine that made me feel useful without having to think too much. I got back to my room, kicked off my boots, sat down with a protein bar and cracked my neck. Then I opened the drawer. I hadn't touched the phone in weeks. Barely remembered it was in there. But for some reason, maybe boredom, maybe instinct, I pulled it out, turned it on, and let the notifications load. There were a few missed calls. Unknown numbers. One from an old buddy. A spam alert about extended car warranties. And one text. No name. But I didn't need one. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I stared at it for a while. Not angry. Not sad. Just still. After 5 minutes, another came in. I never stopped loving you. I actually laughed. Quiet. Not bitter. Not cruel. Just tired. She waited months to say that. Said it to a man who no longer existed. Whatever part of me she thought she still had, she lost it the second she opened that door with someone else inside. She didn't break me. She replaced me. And the guy standing here now? He wasn't going back. I didn't answer. Didn't type a single word. Just held the phone in my hand, looked at the message one last time, and then deleted it. Not archived. Not saved for later. Gone. Then I scrolled to her contact. Blocked the number. Felt nothing. I tossed the phone back in the drawer. Shut it. Went outside. Sun was setting over the edge of the lot. Warm air, crickets buzzing, that kind of empty calm that only comes when you stop expecting closure. One of the new guys was walking toward the barracks, nodding at me as he passed. Evening, sir. I nodded back. Carry on. He kept walking. I watched him go. That was me once. Before all of it. Bright-eyed. Focused. Thinking I had something solid waiting back home. Now? No illusions. No noise. No need for anything I didn't carry in my own hands. I wasn't healed. But I was awake. And that was enough. Divorce was finalized on a Monday. I got the confirmation in an envelope. Standard government mail. Black text on white paper. No ceremony. No phone call. No. This is it. Just a signature that made what already happened legally permanent. I held it in my hand for a second, then folded it, tossed it in the bottom drawer with the rest of the stuff I didn't want to look at. Didn't feel like a loss. Felt like a receipt. People think breakups are fire. Turns out, they're paperwork. I went for a run that night. No phone, no music. Just the sound of gravel under my shoes and breath in my chest. The air felt cleaner than it had in months. On the way back to my room, I passed a mirror in the stairwell. Stopped for a second. Looked. Same uniform. Same haircut. Same boots. But the man in that mirror wasn't who she left. He wasn't waiting anymore. Wasn't hoping. Wasn't carrying her shadow on his back. He looked tired, yeah. But solid. I saluted the mirror once, a joke to myself, and kept walking. That night, I slept like I used to before I met her. Flat on my back. No tossing. No checking the door. No dreams. Just sleep. When morning came, I didn't think about her. Didn't check for a message. Didn't wonder what she was doing. Didn't care who she woke up next to. She was a closed book on a shelf I'd already walked past. Somewhere out there, she might still be telling her side of the story. How it was. Complicated. How I was. Distant. How it just happened. Let her talk. I didn't need to explain. I wore the uniform. I came home early. And I found out what that loyalty was worth to her. She betrayed it. I buried it. And I kept moving. That's it. No revenge. No redemption arc. Just done.